Hello, everyone. My name is John Grace, and I'm a doctorate student at California Intercontinental University. Today is February 25th of 2018, and I am going to be presenting a presentation on visualizing hypothesis testing, basically refuting the null hypothesis. I hope you all enjoy, and we'll proceed on to the next slide. Agenda. Throughout this presentation, I'm going to apply the concept learned from the unit's reading and lecture to create and explain the four visualization hypothesis tests listed below. Visualization number 1, test for mean. Visualization number 2, comparing two groups. Visualization number 3, focuses on the efficiency comparison. And visualization number 4, focuses on correlational testing. Once we dive in a little bit more into those visualization hypothesis tests, I will focus on key takeaways and we will have time for questions and answers. Let's get started. So, for our visualization test number 1 for testing for a mean, we are once again faced with one of our famous bell curves. On our y-axis, we have the probability of defect. And on our x-axis, we have the number of defective widgets out of 100. So our research question for this test, on average, are the widgets from Acme Widget Company defective free? So the null hypothesis here is the number of defective widgets is not equal to 0 probability of defect. As to where our alternative hypothesis is that the number of defective widgets is equal to 0 probability of defect. Moving on, our visualization test number 2, which has to do with comparing the two groups. So the research question for test number 2 is, does the average major league team have more home run hitters than its corresponding minor league team? So once again, going up looking at our hypothesis diagram here of our two bell curves, the number of home runs is listed on our y-axis as to where the fraction of teams that are home run hitters are listed on our x-axis. Blue is represented on the actual diagram as the major league, as to where red is represented as the minor league. So for our null hypothesis, the number of major league home run hitters is equal to the number of minor league home run hitters, and our alternative hypothesis, the number of major league home run hitters is greater than the number of minor league home run hitters. And for visualization hypothesis number 3, which speaks to the efficiency comparison, our research question is, the efficiency curves of the red and blue teams were recorded, and do the teams have equal mean efficiencies? So the null hypothesis for this test speaks to the red team's mean and blue team's mean being equal to 0, as to where the alternative hypothesis, the red team's mean and blue team's mean is not equal. All right, moving on to our visualization hypothesis test number 4, which is our last test, which has to do with correlational testing. So a German study tested how larger industrial use vans utilize gasoline. One of their analyses plotted miles per gallon, which is abbreviated here as MPG, versus the weight of the various vans in the study. After plotting the data on a scatter plot, the researchers performed a correlational test and found a significant correlation. However, they forgot to state their hypothesis test in their published paper. And the results are listed below. So the important question that we're asking or trying to figure out here with our hypothesis is, what are the study's null and alternative hypotheses? So the null hypothesis that I've created here is industrial use van weight is not equal to miles per gallon. As to where the alternative hypothesis, industrial use van weight is equal to miles per gallon. Okay, now touching on important takeaways, creating hypotheses test. Takeaway number 1, a hypothesis test examines two opposing hypotheses, the null and the alternative. Takeaway number 2 for me spoke to the importance of the relationship between two groups or variables. A directional hypothesis is a prediction made by a researcher regarding a positive or negative change, relationship, or difference between two variables. This prediction is usually based on prior research, acknowledged theory, proven experience, or works on the topic. A non-directional hypothesis is a sophisticated presumption stating that a relationship exists between two variables without guessing the direction of the relationship. Now, moving on over to using visualizations. Takeaway number 1 for me spoke to utilizing hypothesis visualizations is important to helping the audience better understand why the research behind the data was instrumental in creating the alternative hypothesis. And my second major takeaway spoke to a visualization being able to help individuals easily establish the mean value and proceed with their process for developing a set of hypotheses. So we have reached the end of my presentation. I want to thank all of you for watching. And if there are any questions or concerns, please feel free to reach out to me for any clarification you may have. Thank you, and I hope you've enjoyed.